The world of combat sports just got another heated moment. And at the center of it all, of course, is Dana White. During the recent press conference for the brand new Zufa Boxing launch, an exchange went viral. And it wasn't because of the fighters on stage. It was because a reporter decided to push Dana White with real, uncomfortable questions. Now, Dana White has always had a complicated relationship with the media. UFC fight weeks are no longer what they were back in 2015 or 2016, when top journalists traveled across the country to every big event, asking hard-hitting questions. Today, the atmosphere feels different, more controlled, more selective about which questions get asked. That tension finally boiled over when reporter Sean Zittel stepped up to the microphone. At first, Sean played it smart. He opened with a compliment, easing into the moment.
Good evening, everybody. Couple questions for Dana. Third highest gate in combat sports history. The second biggest gate you've promoted.
Pointing out how massive this event was, one of the highest gates in combat sports history. That's how you lower a promoter's guard before asking the real question. And then came the shot. Sean asked Dana White why he's pushing for sweeping changes to the Muhammad Ali Reform Act.
Why then do you want to make sweeping changes to the Muhammad Ali?
Changes designed to protect fighters, while at the same time, his company is facing hundreds of millions of dollars in antitrust lawsuits. For a moment, Dana looked caught off guard. He stumbled. He didn't expect it. And his answer was,
"This isn't about me and my business. It's about these two guys on Saturday night."
This isn't about me and my business. It's about these two guys. If you want to talk about that, set up an interview with me. That response alone was telling. Because if you look at the history of UFC press conferences, Dana has never shied away from questions when they help promote his fighters or the brand. But when the questions turn critical, suddenly it's not the time or the place. Sean didn't stop there. He pushed again. He brought up the California State Athletic Commission delaying hearings on the Ali Act changes. Another timely, relevant question. And Dana, visibly frustrated,
Listen, I get it. You want to showboat right now. Set up an interview with me if this is really what you want.
If you want to be an expletive, let's do it in private. This isn't the time. The look on Dana's face said it all. The irritation, the deflection, the insistence that serious business questions didn't belong at a press conference. But here's the thing. Those were fair questions. This was Zufa Boxing's first major show. The whole reason they want to change the Ali Act is to reshape boxing into something that looks a lot more like the UFC model. Centralized, promoter-controlled, and, of course, far more favorable to the business side. So why wouldn't that be relevant? Why wouldn't this be the perfect stage to ask? Instead, Dana framed it as showboating, like asking real, uncomfortable questions was somehow disrespectful. And that's exactly what reveals how he truly sees the role of the media. Compare that with the usual UFC press conference.
We almost had a fist fight.
The majority of questions are safe. How was training camp? What does this fight mean to you? Rarely do we see deep dives into lawsuits, labor reform, or fighter pay. When someone actually dares to bring those topics up, they're brushed aside, accused of grandstanding, or told to take it offline. This moment reminded everyone what Dana White's relationship with media really is. He'll engage when it serves promotion, but when it challenges him, suddenly the rules change. Now, Dana wasn't the only one who raised eyebrows that week. Max Kellerman, the legendary boxing voice, made his comeback as part of the broadcast. But instead of providing balance, Kellerman shocked fans.
Dana White is the greatest combat sports promoter.
At one point, Kellerman said Dana was the greatest combat sports promoter of his lifetime. He claimed Dana built the UFC into something like the NBA, and that now he was about to save boxing too. The problem? Boxing has actually had a very strong run the last 2 years. Fury versus Usyk, Bivol versus Beterbiev, massive Canelo fights, all without Dana White. So for hardcore boxing fans, Kellerman's gushing felt unnecessary, even disrespectful. And that's where Canelo himself stepped in. In perfect English, Canelo corrected him, saying,
"Boxing is always bigger and bigger and big. Don't say boxing is
Boxing is always big, big, and bigger." A subtle reminder that the sport doesn't need saving, and certainly not from Dana White. So on one side, we had Dana White brushing off hard questions, calling them showboating. And on the other, Max Kellerman hyping Dana White as the savior of boxing, only to have Canelo push back in defense of his sport. The irony is thick, because for years, Dana has criticized boxing shows as too long, too slow, too top-heavy. Yet this debut Zufa Boxing event had many of those same issues: long gaps, drawn-out fights, and musical acts between bouts. By his own standards, this wasn't the revolution he promised. And when fans looked at him sitting ringside, headset off, arms crossed, barely smiling, it didn't feel like the Dana White we see running UFC cards. It felt like a man who wasn't fully in control of the show. Maybe that's because he wasn't. The spotlight was on Turki Al-Sheikh, the Saudi power broker who made the event possible. Dana White was part of the production, but not the puppet master. Which raises the big question: when Zufa Boxing finally launches its own series next year, will it really look like the UFC of boxing? Or will it just be another extension of the same model we've already seen? For now, the viral exchange at the press conference tells us everything. Dana White doesn't like being challenged. He never has. And when he is, his instinct is to dismiss it, deflect it, and move on. But the more Zufa Boxing grows, the more those questions will come. The lawsuits, the labor reform debates, the push to reshape boxing's very foundation. These aren't going away, and neither are the reporters willing to ask. What do you think? Was Dana White right to shut down the questions at that press conference? Or did Sean Zittel expose the reality of how he handles tough topics? Drop your thoughts below. And don't forget, this is MMA Arena. Subscribe for more deep dives into the world of combat sports.